Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this one is going to be especially for gentlemen, okay? For all of you guys out there, okay? Because I do love you guys so much, okay? I love men, especially strong and masculine men, okay? Like I said in one of my videos, it's one of my weaknesses, right? Guys have always been my weakness, okay? Because I believe this is what I think, right? So I think that a healed woman is ultimately she's gonna love men, okay? A healed woman, okay? It's the girls that are or women that are damaged, that haven't healed, that haven't taken the time to heal. They're the ones that end up resenting men, right? And hating on them and perhaps even try to overpower them in some way, okay? One thing that I will tell you, right, is that, for example, my mom, she was a narcissist, right? And so she definitely tried to overpower them, you know? Her way of getting men was, first of all, through sexuality, right? She would dress overly sexual. She had a very beautiful figure, right? She had like an hourglass shape. She looked like Marilyn Monroe, basically, in a way, right? She had like blonde curly hair. So guys were just like falling all over her, right? And that's how she lured them in, you know? So one thing that you guys need to understand is that, a lot of women will, especially toxic women, okay, or narcissists that are probably are even unable to heal, right? They are, they're like a separate breed, honestly. And so they're going to try to lure you in with their sexuality or physically, right? That's why you guys, if you want to be a strong and masculine man, if you want to be strong in every way, right? If you want to be considered an alpha male, right, then you really have to get in touch with your feelings. You have to get in touch with your feelings and with your emotions, and you have to learn how to read energy, okay? And guys, that will take a lot of work, but it's still very, very possible to do. Okay, if you are in touch with your feelings, if you are in touch with energy, if you're able to read energy, then you'll learn very quickly. You'll have this discernment, right? You'll learn very quickly who is good for you and who is not, So narcs, they have a very low vibration, right? So their energy is extremely low. And so when you can distinguish low energy in comparison to high energy, right? I mean, from high energy, then you'll, despite what she looks like on the surface, right? You'll be able to quickly tell whether she's someone to mess with or not, basically. So that's why it's really important, especially for guys. You guys are visual creatures, right? Or so we're told, right? I guess you are. I don't know why they say this, because women are visual creatures too. So I don't get this visual creatures, concept that only supposedly relates to guys, right? I think it should relate to girls too. We obviously are also visual creatures. So I don't know what this is about. Anyway, so guys, this video, okay, I'm going to talk about I'm gonna talk about why men in the society are weak, basically, okay? Most guys are incredibly weak, okay? And I'm not talking about muscles. I'm not talking about their muscles, okay? Or their bodies, okay? Yes, their bodies, physically speaking, many of them, well, not many, but it depends which country you're in, right? But a lot of them are in shape, right? Okay, they work out, they go to the gym, okay. But you guys, in order to be considered a masculine and a strong man, okay, you have to remember that you're more than your body. You're not just your body. You're not this piece of meat that you're trained to be, just like women, right? We're not pieces of meat, okay? I know women are basically, men are taught to view females as objects, okay? And in turn, and females are taught to sell themselves off as objects, okay, basically. So it's pretty terrible, but unfortunately, most men, because they're not in touch with their spirituality, they do consider themselves as pieces of meat, basically. Okay, and that's why many of them, one example is Andrew Tate, right? Andrew Tate, he's a lot of men, right? Especially like unawakened men that are really lost. They consider him to be their role model, right? But in reality, Andrew Tate is very far from a role model. Okay, he's not. He's religious now, right? And he converted to Islam, right? Anyway, so it doesn't matter, okay, because his words are speaking much louder than his words are basically revealing, and his actions too, they're revealing what he is all about, okay, basically. So a person, sooner or later, they're going to tell on themselves, okay, and he has made a lot of videos in the past that I watched, and that I listened very carefully, and I discovered that once again he's just an unhealed man. He's all about money, right? For a lot of guys in this world, money, like a lot of money and a lot of girls, is what they strive to have, right? But ultimately, guys, this is all fleeting, okay? This is all fleeting. Money, first of all, it's a made up concept, okay? It's just made to, it's like an illusion, okay? You can't take your money with you when you die, okay? So there's that. Of course, money is a tool that can be used for good or for evil, right? And I would say that it's not a bad tool, right? Because we can all utilize this money. We can put it to work, if we're helping other people with it, right? If we're traveling the world, if we're perhaps widening our perception, right? Widening our awareness, right? If we're learning and growing as a result, if we're getting closer to ourself, right? Our higher self, as a result of this money, then fine, it's great, right? So it has two sides to it, right? But anyways, what I'm saying is that Andrew Tate, for example, right? He's the type of a guy who has funded a business, right? He started with a webcam or something, right? He had a webcam business, right? Where he used women as objects once again, right? And supposedly he would like groom them for to become those webcam girls, right? And so ultimately he basically just ended up selling his soul, right? Because that kind of a job or that kind of work, it's basically kind of like being a prostitute pimp, right? And so, how does let's go back to humanity, right? And let's go back to would a spiritual awakened individual that is in alignment with themselves, right, do something like that? Of course not. Of course not, because when you awaken, when you when you go within, okay, you realize that you just basically have so much love for yourself now, right? That this love just extends out to your fellow brothers and sisters, okay? So selling them would be, or using them in some way, right, for your own, to meet your own needs, right? It's, or selfish gains, right? It's just the last thing that's on your mind. It's not on your mind, right? So he's definitely not an individual who is spiritual or, or awake and aware, okay? He very much seems like an unawake and low vibrational being, basically, who, and I would hate to talk bad about anyone, but I'm just giving you guys an example, right? Because so many guys are looking up to him, okay? And that's why, guys, I think it's so important for you to just be careful who you look up to, okay? Be careful who you worship. Be careful who you choose as your role model, okay? If this is something that you want, money and hoes or money and bitches, right? As they say, it's terrible. Like it's a terrible way to address women as is, right? To begin with, so many, like, even spiritual YouTubers, they talk about women in this way, you know? Like, how can you talk about a woman this way when, you know, you got to this earth, right, through a woman's, you know, body, right? She gave birth to you. And guys, you know, as a woman myself, right, and as a woman who gave birth, I almost died during my, you know, birth. And so I had a natural birth, right? And so it wasn't easy at all, guys. I was suffering for a very long time, like a couple of days, okay? And then I almost died, you know? So it's, you know, it's something like giving birth to you, right? It was like a sacrifice. It was a risk, you know, that a lot of women had to go through, you know. And so and not only that, right, but you know, I'm not even gonna go into the whole process of giving birth and then the after, you know, the after effects, right? And then what she has to deal with and go through to raise a child, you know. It's a very, very difficult task, guys, and it's so emotionally taxing, it's physically taxing, right? So it takes a lot, okay? And so really, guys, if you don't you should really, really think about that when you're bashing on women, you know. I know a lot of guys, right? A lot of guys are very angry at women, right? If you go to like any male forums, many of them speak really, really unkindly, very poorly about women, you know. They're usually, once again, like very sexualized, right? Or they're spoken as like about like guys use like bitches and hoes and you know, these types of names basically, right? But anyway, so today we're going to go into why that is, right? Why this happens, right? And what you can do about it. Okay, don't be a bot, don't be an awakened bot like Andrew Tate, okay? You know, find out who you are, okay? Don't let some fake matrix you know, role model define what your masculinity should be like, okay? And if you can identify with Andrew Tate, you know, and his goals and values, right? Then you have to rethink, okay? Because he has sold his soul. He has sold his soul for what he's doing right now and what he has. Okay, ultimately this is going to be like sand. It's gonna disappear, none of it will matter, and he's gonna end up without a soul. He's gonna end up just completely empty. He's already empty. I think he's also possessed. That's a very likelihood, you know, that's very likely. So the thing that you're looking up to is like a demon, you know, who is ego driven, who doesn't care about anything but money and himself and pleasing himself, you know. So if that's something that you can identify with, then you've got a lot of work to do on yourself, you know, because I know you guys are a lot more than that, okay? You're not just bodies, you have so much potential, okay, guys? The reason why also a lot of women they do not, and look, I'm not saying in this video that women are perfect, right? We're also, like, a lot of us are also very lost, just like guys, right? We're all human. Like in general, guys, humans are lost, okay? Male or female, okay? So you know, girls are trying to portray themselves as sex objects, right? Because that's what they're taught, okay? And guys are taught to portray themselves as these macho, you know, human beings that you know, should only strive to have as much sex as possible, and that should have a lot of money, huge pockets, right? And nothing else, pretty much, right? To be spiritually bankrupt. And basically that's exactly what is happening, you know. So males and females are like, they're completely they're lost, you know, they're really lost. And so I understand why a lot of guys, for example, they might be really angry at women, right? And they might resent them and so on, right? Especially nowadays, okay? From what I gathered, I've watched a lot of videos also, right? And I've talked to a lot of people. Women are also taught right now, especially now, to only go for guys with big pockets, right? And to I don't know, while many of them don't even know their worth, they don't know what they have to offer, so when asked like what do you have to offer, a lot of them respond like, oh, I just I can cook, I can clean, and I can show you a good time, hint hint, right? So that's all that they're saying about themselves, and honestly, that is very, very sad, and I made a video about this, right? The value of a woman, and also the value of a man. It can be applied to guys too, right? If you probably ask a guy nowadays what he has to offer, right, that would probably be, I wouldn't even say money, right? Because a lot of people are broke, right? Especially in America, right? But they would probably say like, I don't know, their body, right, or something, or their, I don't know, their wallets, right, their career, or something like that. So it's always external. It's nothing that it's not their inner traits, right? It's never their inner traits, like being funny, right? I don't know, having a good energy, or like being just incredibly healing to be around, right? I don't know, being just inspirational. Maybe you just inspire everyone around you. Maybe you uplift them, right? It's never that. It's always about the big pockets, right? It's always about the body. It's always the external things that don't matter ultimately, okay? And so, anyways, so let me just drink some tea. I've been talking too fast. Anyways, but I have a lot of things to say in this video, okay? Anyways, so here's the problem, okay? For men, right? So you guys have been taught from an early age, okay, that boys are not supposed to cry, right? And guys are placed in this man box, right? And I already made a video on man box and what it's about, right? And it's basically a concept where, males should be a certain way, right? He should be assertive, aggressive, dominant, right? And never show his emotions, right? Basically, kind of like that. He should always have money, right? He should be a provider and so on, right? Biologically speaking, right, and in terms of his hormones, I would agree with some of those things, right? Because what ultimately makes a male different from a female is his hormonal profile, first of all, right? The males have got like a lot more testosterone than girls, which means they're physically stronger, right? Which means they can probably, I don't know, basically, and it's not just our hormonal profile, right? That's different, but also our bodies, right? Physiologically speaking, right? Biologically speaking, we are different in certain ways, right? Our brains, for example, are a little bit different too, right? So, for instance, females are better at communicating. They and that has to do also with certain regions of their brain being a little bit different, so it has to do with that. So because she probably has a more broad vocabulary base, right, than in comparison to a male. That's one thing. And also, guys, in terms of physiology, right, and biology, males, right, males are taught, ironically, right, that that they should be unemotional, right? Here's the problem, though, okay? While in the womb, right, a male child is more likely to die when exposed to stressful situations. Okay, so if his mom is exposed to stressful situations, if it's a male, right, then he's more likely to die in comparison to a female. Okay, so it starts out like this. Okay, also, right, what has been observed, right, and it just shows that these observations basically, they point to the fact that a male is much more sensitive than a female. Okay, and so that's the irony. Okay, so there's this big discrepancy between what you're being taught, or how you're being taught to be, and how you really are, right? So you're taken a lot farther away from yourself, basically, by these teachings, right? The social teachings. Okay, so you really have to, as an individual, redefine all of this. Okay, and not succumb to any freaking social expectations, of what you should be like. Okay, anyway, so let's get back to the emotional differences, right? Males, they laugh a lot more in comparison to girls when they're toddlers. Okay, as toddlers, they coo a lot more as toddlers. Okay, in comparison to girl kids or girl toddlers. And they cry a lot more too. Okay, so this shows that they're more sensitive in comparison to girls. Okay, and so but however, right, as kids, they begin to learn that having emotions is not okay. That being sensitive is negative, right? And that they should suppress their emotions, and they should suppress and just ignore their sensitivity, And so I think this ultimately cuts them off from their emotions, right? Which ultimately disconnects them from even energy, okay? From their higher selves. Okay, it disconnects them from that connection, that godly connection. Okay, and so because they lose this connection, they now are lacking in energy, right? They don't have enough energy, they don't generate their own energy, right? So they look for this energy from a woman. Okay, so they are basically taught to forever be dependent on a woman. Okay, and that's not a good thing. A healed female does not want you to be dependent on anyone. She just wants you to depend on God within, and she wants you to be connected to your higher self. She wants you to be a man that can truly lead, a man who she can truly follow, and a male that's disconnected from his emotions, from his naturally higher sensitivities, he's not going to be a strong man. Okay, just because you're strong physically, right, does not mean that you're strong spiritually, energetically, right? You can be a very strong masculine guy. I mean, not masculine, but a muscular guy, right? Guy with muscles. You can have a very strong body, but still very much be lacking in spirituality, be lacking in that connection to your emotions, right? Connection to your soul, ultimately, right? So that just makes you like it makes you an unconscious bot, like Andrew Tate, basically. That's what you ultimately become, okay? So and so that, no matter how tough you will act on the surface, right, you're still very much you're dependent on females, right, which ultimately will make you knowing that you are now dependent on females, right, and their validation, right, ultimately. And their emotional energy also, right? You're going to resent them. You're going to hate them for it. You're going to be angry, right? Because deep down, and perhaps not consciously, but unconsciously, you're going to realize that you are dependent, okay? And so you're going to resent females. You're not gonna like them. You're going to be in a relationship probably. And you're gonna feel like you're sleeping with an enemy, right? So that's terrible. That's a terrible situation to be in, guys. And so that's why you have to be aware of this. You have to, and I know also, look, I know that the hate on females also can come from your moms. Your mom was the first role model to you, right? And so she, if she was a bitch, right? If, like I said, women are not perfect, right? A lot of them are bad moms. A lot of them are terrible to their kids, right? A lot of them are like my mom. She was a narc, right? She was more terrible to me, I would say, than my brother, right? Because my brother was the golden child, right? The golden children are like treated, I would say, better, but they end up paying a higher price, like inner price, okay? Because they have to basically silence themselves and their thoughts. They cannot speak out, And so anyway, so that's how my brother was. I grew up with a brother, right? And so he was silent while I always like argued with my mom, and I always spoke out against unfairness, that I observed. And yeah, and so, I watched my mom like choose, really, really great guys, over and over again. And she would like take great guys and she would just damage them, she would turn them into like mush, basically, And of course I was there too. I tried to like speak out, or I tried to help those guys, right? They were my stepdads, I guess. And so I liked them. They were good guys. They really were, And I just felt really, really bad, just seeing this unfairness coming from her, So, that goes to show, like, be careful who you get involved with, just first get in touch with yourself, get to know yourself, know thyself, right? That's the key to life, once you get to know yourself, once you get in touch with yourself, your emotions, right? You will be able to have discernment. You're not going to fall for the looks. You're not going to fall for the charm. Of course, there will be temptation still, probably, right? But still, you're going to be more careful, okay, in who you deal with, okay? Because I know that a lot of you pick, you make the wrong choices once again, right? And then you end up being abused. You end up getting used, or you end up being, treated unfairly, right? And once again, it has to do a lot with ourselves, okay? Because guys, ultimately we make the choice, okay? It doesn't matter whether it's a toxic choice or it's a good choice, right? We make the choice, okay? It's our choice to go into some kind of relationship, right? So yeah, there's that, right? So as a man, you should learn how to take responsibility for your actions, okay? And stop blaming, man. Like, the choice was yours, right? It was always yours. So like, why are you blaming females, Like, learn to forgive also. A lot of us have gone through a lot of heartbreak, right? We've gone through really shitty situations with the opposite sex, right? But it doesn't mean that we should hate one another, We really, honestly, guys, like, we complement one another, We do, like, that's why we're so drawn to one another, Because there's this yin and yang, right? It's the masculine, the feminine. Of course, what the rulers of this world, what they want to do is they want to turn women into men and men into women, and they're trying to do everything in their power to accomplish this, right? They don't want the feminine to look at the, masculine and be attracted. They want, girls to look at guys and be repelled by them. And this is kind of what's happening, because a lot of guys are like ultimately turning into females, right? And a lot of girls are turning into males, basically, especially in the West, right? And also, like, an unhealed female, right? She is going to be more, dominating. She's going to be very, like, overly independent, okay? She's going to be a little bit too masculine, okay? She's not gonna want to really rely on a man, She's, because she's hurt, she's unhealed, And same applies to males here too, okay? So the problem is it goes both ways, guys, okay? Males and females, they have a lot of healing to do. Although, guys, just from judging from my, students, right? And I teach Latvian students and Russian students mostly, right? In Latvia. And I noticed that the females, right? And I talk to them, of course, I get to know my students really, really well on a deeper level, right? And I noticed guys there, especially in Latvia, I don't know about US, you know. Well, actually I do, of course. I lived there, right? I grew up there. But, you know, guys in Latvia have a lot more work to do than females. A lot of my female students are very like, they're focused on you know, development and self-growth, self-improvement, right? They're working very hard, basically, you know, and spiritually speaking too, you know. So there's a reason why they're drawn to me too, you know, as their teacher, right? So, you know, it's never a coincidence. Like, people can sense, you know, your energy, and ultimately they want to awaken too. They want to wake up, you know. So if they feel like you're the person who will help them do that, then they will be drawn to you, and then they'll contact you, you know. So but we're not going to talk about this here, right? What we're talking about is why men are weak, right? And why many women, especially a healed woman, actually, right? Why they don't want to submit to men. You know, would I want to submit to, or would I even trust to submit to a guy who is a bot, a guy who just looks at himself as a piece of meat, a guy who is like sending me, I don't know, you know, a guy who's sending me like selfies, like naked selfies of himself or something like that? Of course not. You know, he's showing me like, hey, this is what I've got. This is all that I've got, pretty much. You know, I can't really impress you with anything else. So here, you know, just look at my body, look at my muscles. Okay, anyone can have these muscles. Okay, if they really, really want to. So it's not a huge deal. What's more impressive, guys, is your heart. It's your spirituality. It's your humanity. It's you. You know. Becoming more innocent again, you know, going back to your innocence. You know, it's you, you know, being like, get in touch with that inner kid that never looked at females as sex objects, you know. Get in touch with that inner kid that was still able to talk to females like they're equals, you know, which they are, right? Get in touch with that innocent, you know, innocent boy that didn't, you know, didn't look at a female and automatically thought about having sex with her, you know. I think that's also important, you know. It's just that innocence, you know, just maintaining that innocence about yourself. I know guys are also like, they're taught that, you know, to be a man, they have to have a lot of women, right? And so those that don't, or those that don't want to, or those that don't have that option, right? They feel terrible. They feel like they're not men, right? And this is terrible, guys. Like, imagine if you have so many females, right? How much energy you're sharing with you. First of all, right? By losing your seed all the time, right? There's a high amount of nutrients in your seed, basically, right? And every time you get rid of it, right, either through watching porn, right, or either through just engaging in sexual relationships all the time, right, or like one night stands, right, you're wasting all of that precious energy, all of those nutrients. You have to think about that too, okay? You're giving away your power, you're throwing it out, okay? And you're exchanging energies with who knows who, you know? You don't know this, you don't know these women. You might think that they look good on the surface, right? But do you know anything about them? What's their energy like? You know, you're forming attachments, you're forming deep soul connections with these women by sleeping with them, and in turn you're going to be getting their emotional energy too. So if they're depressed, anxious, you know, angry, if they've got a lot of unresolved trauma, it's all going to be exchanged with you. So you're going to lower your own vibration, okay? And that's where sorry, and that's where you're going to stay, you know. Sorry about this. Anyway, so once again, right, guys, one other thing, right, that you should be focused on, guys, is that you should focus on eating quality foods, okay? A lot of men nowadays, their hormones are manipulated, okay? They're beginning to feel gay, right? They're because right, of the amount of the estrogen that's in our foods, okay? Um, Not only can you, like, does it hinder your fat loss, right, but also, it messes up your own hormonal profile, right? It affects your hormones, and in turn it can even, make you, once again, make you feel gay, okay? So this is a big problem, right? And there are a lot of different steroids in, for example, in meats, right? A lot of meat that we're consuming, especially in US, the US meat has been banned from many different countries, okay? For that, exactly that reason. I'm not saying a meat in Europe is perfect. It might be a little bit better, but I'm not 100% sure, okay? Anyway, so it's not just meat, right? It's also soy. Soy is in everything, literally in everything, okay? I know some say that it does not affect, your hormones, right? But I disagree with this. My intuition is saying that it does. They put it in literally everything, okay? Soy has estrogen in it, okay? It's a plant-based estrogen that mimics human estrogen, okay? So there's that, and there's of course plastic, like our food is literally, like, it's covered in plastic is everywhere, okay? And the plastic also has estrogen in it, okay? And so if you guys are just be careful, especially if you have kids, okay? Be careful with that, be careful with putting, like, plastic into their bathtub or something, right? I know a lot of kids like to play in their bathtub and with toys in it, right? And so yeah, be aware of that, okay? Because when plastic gets heated, right, all of those chemicals, they leach into, they go into the water too, okay? And so be careful with plastic, and make sure you focus on foods that, that are pure, that are organic, okay? And that will make you stronger as a male, okay? I know a lot of fiber can also decrease your testosterone, so be careful with eating too much fiber or having too much fiber in your diet. Moderation is key, right? So, like, have that balance. And yeah, be aware what you're ingesting, what you're eating, okay? Because ultimately it does impact your hormones, okay? It hinders your ability to lose fat, okay? And as a male, the higher your fat percentage is, the more estrogen that you have in your body, basically, and the more likely that you are to become more feminine, okay, or act more feminine, all right? I've noticed that with bigger guys, and that's just a fact, they're, like, naturally kind of more less masculine, basically, okay? So yeah, of course, that's just the external, right? But yeah, but it's internal too, right? Nutrition is internal. You are what you eat, right? And so yeah, there's a specific diet that you can have that will ultimately increase your testosterone, okay? Will make you more masculine, more manly, so focus on, like, high protein, right? High quality foods, once again, right? Organic. If you can grow your own food, that's even better. I'm trying to grow my own food right now. We have, like, tomatoes, we have cucumbers, we have like all kinds of greens, and that's awesome. So yes, anyways, let's see, what else did I forget to mention? Oh yeah, once again, don't pay attention to, like, rappers and fashion, right? Celebrities, they're paid large amounts of money for a reason. They're here to distract you. They're here to get you farther away from your higher self. All of them are pretty much paid to that much money. They're paid to keep you at a low frequency, at a low vibration, okay? And guys, I will talk to you about celebrities more. I've dealt with a lot of them. I've played soccer with Owen Wilson. I've seen a lot of them, you know, and I will talk to you about their energy and what they're really like, okay? But I do have news for you, okay? The real celebrities, guys, are those that are awake, okay, and aware. Those are the real celebrities. Those are the shining lights of this world that we all need and that will ultimately heal and help this planet, okay? And so, you know, the stars, the celebrities in this matrix, they mean nothing at all, okay? They're here to lower your vibration with their music, with their fashion, okay? So many, you know, like runway shows I've seen, they showed like guys being dressed in this like even Shane, right, or Shein, I don't know. It's like this Asian company, right? It's pretty big, but even they have like a lot of like they're basically dressing males as females, okay? You know, promoting skirt wearing and things like that. You know, it's just honestly, I think it's I don't know. To me, it just doesn't seem right. Okay, you know, you're not a Scot. You know, you're not Scottish. Like, please don't wear a skirt. You know, like it's just I don't know. Maybe it's my own programming too. Maybe I'm just like not open-minded enough, you know. I don't know, you know, you can look at things in different ways too, right? It's like pink being, you know, the guy color, right? And blue, I mean the girl color, and blue being I mean pink being a girl color and blue being a guy color, right? It used to be reversed back in the days, you know. So anyways, but yes, you know, once again, you know, if you want to be a strong man, you know, stand up for what is right. You know, go against injustice. Speak your truth, okay? Protect your woman, protect, you know, the weak, right? We are in a sense, right, weaker, guys, okay, because of physiology. There's nothing we can do, right? Guys, in sports, like even in sports, I was one of the best female runners, right? But still I couldn't outrun like our fastest guys on the team, you know. So like this goes to show that, you know, males are physically stronger, and I don't care what any female says. Of course there are exceptions, right? And some females are stronger than some males, but ultimately the guy is stronger, okay? Overall, in general, guys are physically stronger than females. So there's like no arguing with that, honestly, okay? I don't know, and whoever tries to, they're crazy, you know? They're just like delusional, you know? So yeah, so protect your females, you know. If you see injustices, you know, then say something, you know. Don't be a coward, you know. What makes you a strong man is also, you know, your fearlessness. Like lose that fear of yours, you know. Work on getting outside of your comfort zone. Speak up for others, you know. Learn to face your fears, you know. Learn to connect to your higher self, okay? Meditate, okay? Eat quality foods. Stop, you know, jerking off to you know, to these like porn stars, you know. These oftentimes, guys, like a lot of these females are exploited. They're like forced into that you know, profession, right? And yeah, they end up like suffering, you know, and you're basically you're exchanging energy with someone, you know, who is like miserable and depressed and hates their work, basically, okay? So you're getting that energy. Not only that, right, but you're losing your own because you're losing the seed, right? So you know, practice self restrainment, you know. It's not, I know it's not easy, supposedly for guys, right? Because their testosterone is way higher, which makes them more horny in general, right? But it's possible, you know, it's possible, especially if you use this sexual energy and create something, use this sexual energy, because this is a very powerful energy, right? That can be rechanneled to creative endeavors, right? So focus on creating, okay? Focus on, I don't know, giving to your community. And if you become if you want a great woman, okay, then you have to become a great man too. You can't be low vibrational and then expect to attract a high vibrational female. It's just not gonna happen, okay? So you have to also raise and increase your vibration in order to meet your match, right? We can only meet someone at our own level, So if you're not there yet, then, energetically speaking, right? Spiritually speaking, then get there first, and then you will attract whatever you want into your life. Okay, anyways guys, I hope you really enjoyed this video. I wasn't gonna make one today once again, but I'm glad that I did, and hopefully this helped you. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I didn't forget anything. There was a lot to say. All right, much love to you. Peace.